2 weeks changed everything in Israel's defense equation. Not 2 years of grinding attrition warfare, not 2 months of sustained bombardment campaigns, 2 weeks of Iranian cluster munitions, Israel's missile defense inventory critically depleted, Iron Dome batteries still standing operationally, David sling launchers remained functional, but interceptors that make systems work running out, missiles flying up to stop missiles coming down disappearing, no fast way to manufacture more immediately. This represents fundamental mathematical reality. Every defense analyst knew this vulnerability existed. Every wargame confirmed economic unsustainability. Israeli and American planners hoped never to confront. Iran figured out the equation first. One Iron Dome interceptor costs approximately $50,000. One Qassam rocket costs approximately $800. Israel spends $60 defending against every $1 attacking. That ratio always unsustainable in theory. Everyone understood the mathematical problem. Assumption was no adversary could sustain volume. Iran changed the fundamental assumption, not by spending more money on weapons, not by building more sophisticated systems, by changing the type of weapon deployed. Cluster munitions don't care about Iron Dome. Single delivery vehicle opens mid-flight, releases dozens of submunitions over wide area. Each submunition represents separate object. Each object requires separate intercept attempt. Single cluster salvo forces simultaneous engagement. 30 to 40 individual targets appearing instantly, each on slightly different trajectory, each at slightly different altitude, each arriving at different time. Iron Dome not designed for this challenge, designed to intercept predictable ballistic arcs, single objects requiring single intercepts. System calculates whether rocket hits population, ignores one's landing in empty areas, fires interceptors at threatening targets only. Clean, efficient, extraordinarily effective design. Cluster munitions break every design assumption. Cluster munition opens at altitude. Fire control computer sees target swarm. Must evaluate 30 objects simultaneously. Determine which threaten populated areas. Assign interceptors to each threat. Fire weapons in coordinated sequence. All accomplished in seconds during descent. Single cluster salvo exhausts more interceptors. 45 seconds versus our conventional barrage. Iran didn't fire more missiles. Iran fired smarter missiles. Israel's interceptor stockpiles bled twice faster. 2 weeks produced critical depletion. Critically low means specific mathematical threshold. Iron Dome interceptors called Tamir missiles. Israel manufactures domestically through Rafael. Production rate classified, but estimates available. Publicly disclosed orders indicate capacity. Approximately 3,000 Tamir missiles annually. That sounds substantial, but inadequate. Sustained conflict consumes thousands weekly. Cluster munitions accelerate consumption rates dramatically. Production cannot surge replacement speed. Manufacturing process requires significant time. Supply chain involves complex components. Testing and quality assurance mandatory. Cannot print Tamir missiles instantly. United States maintains emergency stockpiles. Israel already requested access to reserves. Stockpiles not infinite in capacity, sized for specific scenario planning. American war planners determined likely scenarios. 2-week cluster campaign not anticipated. Depletion at twice projected rate unexpected. United States managing Patriot inventory simultaneously. Potential commitments in Europe and Pacific. Every missile to Israel unavailable elsewhere. Not in warehouse for other contingencies. American officials understand the mathematics. Israeli officials recognize the constraints. Iranian planners calculated this deliberately. Not accident, but resource exhaustion strategy. Military accountant understood better than general. Serious planners knew economics were terminal. Interception always more expensive than attack. Defender spends more per engagement. Short conflict makes asymmetry irrelevant. Sustained conflict makes it decisive. Israel's doctrine never planned sustained Iranian conflict, built on deterrence and retaliation threat. Overwhelming retaliation would make attack irrational. Iran would calculate retaliation cost. Decide cost exceeded benefit and stop. Iran not stopping means deterrence failed, or Iran accepted retaliation cost calculated. Permanent depletion worth temporary punishment. Israeli missile defense infrastructure requires years rebuilding. Iran spent 2 weeks degrading capability. Defensive capability degraded 2 to 4 years. Strategic return on investment incalculable. No general calculates in these terms. Iranian planners thought strategically long-term. American position looks problematic now. Not Israel's problem alone globally. United States sold systems to allies. Iron Dome, David Sling, Patriot systems. Implicit promise of interceptor resupply. Promise tested against cluster campaign. Coming up short in delivery. Every buyer watching this performance. Taiwan operates Patriot systems defensively. Taiwan faces China studying exactly this. How exhaust interceptors before main attack. Fire cheap things first extensively. Lots of cheap things continuously. Force expensive interceptor expenditure. When defender running low, expensive threats. China watched Iranian cluster depletion. China has cluster munitions available. China has cruise missiles stockpiled. China has ballistic missiles ready. China has hypersonic glide vehicles, orders of magnitude more than Iran. 2 weeks, Iranian clusters depleted Israel. What does Chinese saturation accomplish? Taiwanese missile defense faces this. Japanese defense, covering American bases. F-35s operate from defended locations. Answer uncomfortable for planners. American architecture designed for constrained adversaries. China, not resource constrained currently. China watched proof of concept execute. Defense contractors claim production surge capability. Raytheon manufactures Patriot interceptors domestically. We'll brief Congress on acceleration timelines. Rafael will brief Knesset increased output. Numbers will sound reassuring to officials. Should not be reassuring, actually. Missile production, unlike automobile manufacturing, cannot flip switch and double output. Specialized components require specialized manufacturing processes. Solid rocket fuel needs specific precursors, long lead times for critical materials. Seekers and guidance systems need precision, cannot improvise precision manufacturing quickly. Factories running near capacity already. American and Allied procurement elevated since 2022. No slack exists in system. Tamir surge takes 18 months minimum. Patriot surge takes longer period. Gap between need and delivery exists. Calendar time combat doesn't respect. 2 weeks depleted the stocks. 18 months to begin restoration. Iran created strategic window deliberately, not by winning battle tactically, by doing mathematics strategically. Israel cannot do certain things now. Critically depleted doesn't mean defenseless completely. Iron Dome can still intercept rockets. David's sling engages cruise missiles. Number of simultaneous threats dramatically lower. Changes everything about attack planning. Iran knows Israeli interceptor inventory precisely, not through extraordinary intelligence gathering. Iranian planners know cluster munitions fired, know approximate Iron Dome engagement rates, can perform simple subtraction mathematics, know what Israel has remaining, can plan decisive attack accordingly, not probing strike or harassment, decisive strike to exhaust remaining interceptors. Penetrate with follow-on wave afterward. Capability Iran didn't have previously, has it now through depletion strategy, not building new weapon systems. Spending 2 weeks depleting stocks. Hezbollah watching the mathematical demonstration. Houthis watching the strategic lesson. Every Iranian-aligned force calculating opportunities. Coordinated strike against empty defense. Israeli Prime Minister faces impossible position. No historical precedent in experience. Israeli security concept since 1948 built. 2 fundamental pillars supporting strategy. Offensive capability, striking first decisively. Ending conflicts before sustained damage. Defensive depth protecting cities until victory. Both pillars cracked simultaneously now. Offensive capability degraded by S-400 tracking. Every Israeli F-35 tracked real time. 2 weeks ago story remains accurate. Defensive depth degraded by interceptor depletion. Iran spent 2 weeks running down stocks. Less able to attack simultaneously. Less able to defend currently. Any point in modern military history. Not defeated in battle tactically. Not because soldiers failed operationally. Adversary planned carefully and executed patiently. Used cheap weapons creating expensive problems. Israeli cabinet meeting under new constraints. Never faced these limitations previously. Every option worse than 2 weeks ago. Every option worse than will be. Unless something changes fundamental equation. Massive American resupply takes time. Ships are slow crossing oceans. Aircraft have limited payload capacity. Factories cannot produce fast enough. Ceasefire Iran accepts from advantage. Terms favorable to Iranian position. Locks and gains from cluster expenditure. Israeli escalation to different systems. Systems not requiring air superiority. Cruise missiles and long-range strike. Most extreme scenario systems available don't require conventional delivery methods. Option. No one discusses publicly. American officials losing sleep over nuclear-armed state with degraded conventional capability. Depleted missile defense facing existential threat. Calculus has no clean resolution. Iran knows this strategic reality. Russia knows this mathematical truth. China taking detailed notes currently. Interceptors running out systematically. Not because engineers made mistakes, not because contractors delivered inferior systems. Iran made rational calculation precisely. Cheaps, cluster munitions exhaust expensive interceptors, faster than replacement production possible. Mathematics always existed historically. Vulnerability always presents systematically. Every analyst running numbers saw it. Iran ran numbers and executed plan. 2 weeks shifted strategic balance, ways taking years to reverse, if reversal possible at all. Iron Dome still standing physically, doesn't have enough missiles remaining. Factories need 18 months production time. Iran spent 2 weeks doing mathematics, took 18 months off defensive clock. Not military campaign traditionally. Masterclass in resource warfare. Strategic thinking over tactical execution. Mathematical precision over kinetic force. Economic warfare over conventional battle. Iran demonstrated new warfare paradigm. Cheap weapons defeating expensive systems, resource exhaustion as strategic objective, time advantage over immediate victory, long-term thinking over short-term gains, strategic patience over tactical impatience, mathematical planning over emotional response, economic calculation over military emotion. Iranian strategy proved devastatingly effective. 2 weeks changed Middle Eastern balance, defense economics exposed as vulnerable, missile defense sustainability questioned globally, production bottlenecks revealed as critical, emergency stockpiles proven insufficient capacity, Allied confidence in American systems shaken. Future conflicts will apply these lessons. Cluster munitions become preferred weapon. Resource exhaustion becomes standard strategy. Defense systems require fundamental rethinking. Production capacity needs dramatic expansion. Stockpile sizing requires scenario revision. Economic warfare becomes primary consideration. Mathematical advantage over technological superiority. Iran wrote new rulebooks successfully. Others will follow Iranian example. Cheap weapons exhausting expensive defenses. Resource warfare replacing conventional battle. Strategic patience defeating tactical superiority. Mathematical precision over technological advantage. 2 weeks demonstrated new reality. Defense systems are mathematically vulnerable. Production cannot match consumption rates. Economic asymmetry becomes decisive factor. Iran proved cheap can defeat expensive. Strategic thinking overcomes tactical superiority. Resource exhaustion achieves strategic objectives. Mathematical warfare defeats traditional thinking. New era Middle Eastern conflict begun. Old assumptions no longer valid. Defense economics require complete rethinking. Production priorities need fundamental revision. Strategic planning must incorporate resource warfare. Mathematical advantage becomes decisive factor. Iran changed warfare rules permanently. 2 weeks created 18-month vulnerability. Iron Dome mathematics exposed publicly. Defense systems proven economically unsustainable. Resource warfare demonstrated as effective strategy. Middle Eastern balance shifted fundamentally. Future conflicts will follow Iranian model.